Sergeant McKeon, the predatory lender, Iraqi vet 0405. I'm out in front of the West LA VA Medical Center asking folks about how they feel about the allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse at the Wounded Warrior Project. Sergeant McKeon from the Predatory Lending Network, served 8 years in the Army, 6 of which were with this unit right here, the 63rd Infantry Division, under the 376 PSB. Now, my feelings on this is, well, I did some work before I was in the Army with a veteran charity, and typical procedure was the person who called you up, asked you for money over the phone, got 20% to 35%. The driver, which I was, who went around and picked up your check, got 10% of the money. Then the regional guy got 15% of the money. So you can quite easily see how expenses at a veterans charity could skyrocket to well over 50%. So I kind of understand how this could happen because I've seen it at other legitimate charities. So since my dad was a veteran at the time, I didn't really object to it, but now you hear about other charities operating expenses as low as 15%. You know, you feel like this is something that's wrong, and these guys, you know, if they did something illegal or not, we don't know, but we have to investigate these guys because there could be, you know, some criminal proceedings there. But as far as I know, there's no interest in pursuing them for this. So, you know, I'm just here to ask some folks what they think about it, and we'll see. And now, what do you think about the allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse at the Wounded Warrior Project?
Well, if the accusations are true, I think it's a shame.
Now, the top 2 executives were fired Thursday because of this. Do you have any things on what should happen to them?
No, I think after a thorough investigation, I think that the right thing will be done.
Now, the operating cost under those executives was 50% versus 15% for other charities. Now, with that, what do you think of that?
I would need to really read up on it some more. I don't really have a comment at this time.
Okay, so what do you think should be done at the Wounded? What do you think should be done at the Wounded Warrior Project because of this?
Well, I do think that it needs to be cleaned up because you know, the wounded warriors, they need to be taken care of correctly, you know, and not have that wasting going on.
Any last minute things you'd like to say?
No, I just hope that all my Wounded Warrior veterans, our fellow brothers in arms, get the services that they deserve and everything goes well.
Okay. So in closing, this is Sergeant McKeon signing out. This is Sergeant McKeon asking folks about what they think about the allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse at the Wounded Warrior Project. So, sir, what do you think of that?
Well, first of all, let's hope these allegations are actual fact, and you know, they're not just going in on some people who they think might have done wrong. You know, let's hope these allegations are true first. Second of all, the Wounded Warriors, I'm not really sure what's going on about it, but with them getting 50% of donations while other charities are getting 15%, kind of seems unfair. But at the same time, there are wounded warriors, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a compromising situation to talk about, you know what I mean? So.
Okay, now, so they were in trouble for having lavish parties and spending a lot of money on alcohol. Like 1 year, the CEO of the company came in on a horse, on a Segway. He was at a fancy resort and he rappelled down the building, you know, to show off, you know, for the things. I mean, these are the kind of parties. They had like a Mexican mariachi band and put the Wounded Warrior Project. What do you think of that kind of spending for veterans charities?
If this kind of spending was for the actual wounded warriors and the parties were for them, then okay. But if it's just a party just to have a party,
well, it was for the employees.
That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That money is for the wounded warriors, you know what I mean? So why would the head of that charity be spending that money on lavish lifestyle parties?
So what do you think should be done at the Wounded Warriors because of this?
I'm not really sure what should be done However, I'm pretty sure those people that were involved in this situation will be dealt with accordingly, because that's unacceptable.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
Combat veteran Devon Lowe, SHSN, out.
In closing, this is Sergeant McKeon signing out. So, sir, what do you think about the top 2 executives at Wounded Warrior Project being fired for these allegations?
Well, I've heard somewhat about it. If the allegations are true, they deserve to be fired.
And your bus is here. Is this you?
That's okay. I can get the next one.
Oh, okay. That threw me off. Geez, what else should I say? Now, they were spending 50% operating budget when other charities spend 10 to 15% of their money on operating costs. What do you think about this dramatic overspending on operating costs compared to other charities?
Well, once again, I'm not that familiar with the charities. To be honest with you, I've been so consumed with the politics, listening at the Republicans and dealing with who our next president's going to be, our next commander-in-chief, that I really haven't given it a lot of thought. I heard about the 2 executives, and I really don't know what to believe, to be honest with you, because I don't trust the media anymore, and I certainly get tired of hearing the Veterans Administration being trashed out. Yeah, it's not perfect, but be perfectly honest with you, if it was not for the greater veterans here in Los Angeles, I'd be homeless. I'd be absolutely homeless. And I just left my appointment now and walked into an empty building, which is great, because that means vets are being housed, they're being treated. And I remember when I came here a year ago, standing room only. Wait time could have been 3 or 4 hours, and all that's changed. So I just think that hopefully the executives, like I said, if they're wrong, if they were stealing, cheating, or whatever is being said about them, if it's true, then they deserve to be fired, deserve to be punished. But if it's not, then we still have an issue.
So what do you think should be done at the Wounded Warrior Project? Because they're looking to bring in former military personnel to run it, because of this.
I think that would be great. I think I live in a building now that it's unlisted people, and then it's veterans, and it's like mixing apples and oranges. And I think that that when you served in the military and you understand what war does to men and women, and not to just change the subject, but that's one of my pet peeves, is that I don't believe that we should have any commander-in-chief that doesn't serve in the armed services. And I just believe that. I just don't believe that too many of our politicians are hawkish. I love Hillary. I'm going to vote for Hillary, but I just believe that if she would stay, if I thought for 1 second that she would put boots on the ground and cause us to be in the conflict that we've got under the Bush administration, I would not vote for her. Barry Sanders, I love him. I love how he's tapped into the energy of our young people, and that's a good thing. But same for him. He burned his draft card, and I heard him say, I heard him say that he wanted to put boots on the ground, and it's why? The one thing I agree with Donald Trump about, and I almost hesitate to say that they ought to be fighting for their own country. Come on, it's like asking me to go protect your house and you're running somewhere hiding. I don't understand that. I don't understand where our country's going through. I love our president. I'm going to miss President Obama. I think he's done a fantastic job. I remember when I first got here a year ago that there was the same kind of scandal going on about our executives that I remember reading in a paper where we had 7 or 8 of them. And I never knew what the outcome came of it. because it was here today and gone tomorrow. So I don't know, but I do know one thing, that our servicemen deserve everything that they have coming. Because even myself, I'm a Vietnam vet, but I did not have to go to war. I had a brother over there, did 2 terms. So I did all my service over here at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. So I thank God for that, because when I see all of the mental stress and I'm very close. I'm getting very close to the veterans. I'm going to devote my time to start working with them, and I would love to work with the wounded warriors. And although I can have empathy for them, I still have my limbs.
And any last minute things you'd like to say?
I like to say, young people, get out and vote. We cannot afford to have these hawkish, bloodthirsty Republicans in the White House. We can't afford it. Whether you vote Barry or Hillary, get out and vote. And let's continue to keep this great country that we have.
Okay, so in closing, this is Sergeant McKeon saying, proud and accurate, huh? So what do you think about what's going on at the Wounded Warrior Project?
It's not a good thing going on right now, because they're using the money to have pleasure with their own selves instead of the veterans who need it the most.
Now, the top 2 executives were fired amongst allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse. Do you think that was actually true?
Yeah, I think it's true. When you apply for a charity, you got to really check into it, because some people, they take advantage of it. Like the money is supposed to go to help other people and like to help the veterans and stuff, but it'll go to help the people that's in charge, the CEOs and stuff like that. They'll line their pockets up and get these big, giant corporations, these big buildings that we really don't need. All we need is a place for therapy for the veterans, to come back and operate in, so they can get themselves back together.
Do you think any money or anything should be given back to the donors, or that donate to the money, or?
Well, I don't think you can give it back to them now because they don't spend it. But I think they need to get a new CEO in there, somebody in charge that know what they're doing, and to help mainly the veterans. I know it takes cost to run buildings and stuff like that, but it still needs to get to the veterans. That's the main thing, because a lot of guys come back with legs cut off and injured and heads messed up and stuff, and they need support.
Now, they say they're looking to find former military personnel become the new head of the charity. Do you have anyone in mind that would possibly be a good candidate?
Military personnel, like an officer or somebody that's been in the military for like 20 years and know what's going on, and they can take charge. Don't worry about it. They can get somebody in charge that know what they're doing, that's really for the veterans. So the best person to get is a veteran. An officer, somebody that's, like a general or admiral, or somebody know what they're doing with the military. Not outsiders, please.
So is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
The only thing I like to say is the Wounded Warrior Project is for the veterans. Now, the Wounded Warrior Project should help the veterans, not the people in charge, like I call them the suits, who try to run everything and out there playing golf and lining their pockets up. And any organization that is charitable should be helping the main thing, like the kids and stuff in the hospital and stuff like that. Any charity that operates should operate to help people, not to line their pockets up.
So in closing, this is Sergeant McKeon saying, proud and accurate, huh?